Ready to roll?
Let's do this.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Wylde Syde. I am Curtis Wylde, accompanied by my lovely wife,
Chrissy Wylde.
and we are coming to you today on the intrawebs, the internets, the worldwide whatchamacallits, and we just wanted to say Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there listening. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there not listening, but you should be. Today is one of the biggest party days of the year, and there's a lot going on out in the world. I mean,
We're not partying.
we're not partying.
I mean, I have my drink.
We're not partying. I bet out there's not a whole lot of partying going on, especially not as much as a regular year, because we got the COVID thing going on. Everybody knows it. Everybody's dealing with it. Unfortunately, St. Louis has had to close their bars and restaurants to indoor activity.
Again.
Because we're having a reprisal this whole thing. And it's all and completely because we're not doing what we need to be doing. We're not wearing masks. We're not wearing our gloves.
Well, we are.
And, we are.
But a lot of other people in Missouri are not.
Not enough people are. And that's the point. And that's why we're back at this crossroads of, are we going to make it through this thing, or is it going to dilapidate down into something that we've never seen before? What's interesting is I saw some clips, some newspaper clippings from 1918.
Yes.
The Spanish flu.
Yes. The last great pandemic.
And that was extremely interesting because they handled it a whole lot better than we do.
People were responsible. They took it seriously.
People took it seriously. Some of the headlines were things
They
like...
took it seriously long enough in the beginning for it to be effective.
Yeah. They did what they had to do when it was the right time to do it. And America has not done that. We've had a lack of leadership. It seems that our freedoms have come to stand in between making healthy decisions for this country, because every state has their own say in it, and every municipality in every state has their own say in it. They can all handle it differently in most places. And especially in Missouri. I know that in California they crack down on it a little more. In New York, it's a little more of a top-down approach. Here, they want to give you personal freedom.
It's every man for himself. Everyone makes his own decisions, whether or not they want to be responsible. And clearly, people don't want to be responsible.
No, because the cases just keep breaking records over and over again. It just keeps happening. St. Louis is doing the best that they can do, unfortunately, around the state. Missouri is still a hot spot. Missouri is not doing everything that they can do because personal freedom, because they want to make sure that every municipality has a voice, and some of those voices say that it's okay for you to go out and risk other people's lives. It's okay for you to not abide by the recommendations of the CDC and the WHO, and even our top scientists, our top doctors. Mm-hmm. It's not okay to just do what you want. I get freedom. We understand what wanting to do what you want to do looks like. We understand what it's all about. We understand what it feels like. But in this very important time in our country's history, we really need to be looking out for each other, and we will get through this. We just need to come together and, as a family, as a nation, as a country, as a society, decide that we are our brother's keeper, and that we are willing to make sacrifices in our own lives to help the lives of other people.
That's right.
It's not socialist. This isn't even political in any way, shape, or form, or it shouldn't be.
Being a good human.
It's being a good human being. It's being a good member of mankind. Mm-hmm. And I don't want this to be just a PSA, because I want to get into having some fun.
Sure.
But,
I think you made some really valid points, and
Man, do what you got to do. Stop trying to shut our gym down. We don't like exercising in masks, and I want to keep on this transforming wild journey. So
it's been kind of difficult.
Help our gym to help us. And then we'll all get by. We'll all do better. And I believe in you. I believe in you, America. I think you can do this. Even though 70 million of you voted for Donald Trump, this isn't about politics. This is about looking out for one another. This is about being the country that we were meant to be from the get-go, from the start. Let's come together. Let's do that. That said, I don't know if you've been able to tell, but I've got a haircut. A little trim. Took a little off the top.
No, we didn't take any off the top. We just took some off the sides.
Yeah. So none off the top. It's an expression, I think. I'm pretty sure. A little off the side, a little off the top. Yeah. At least I hashtagged it.
Anyway.
I sure did.
Looks good on you.
You'd like it?
I like it.
I think you did a pretty decent job. I think you need to trim up in certain areas.
Yeah, the response you got when you asked people on Facebook was a little iffy. Some people said keep it long, grow it long, and other people said, yeah, go ahead and cut it. So
I was pretty surprised because as a long hair, and I've been a long hair for more of my life than I've been a short hair, you can see a certain standoffedness about long-haired people, or about just long hair in general. I mean, there's still some of that goes back to the 50s, where, if you had long hair, then you were looked at like a hippie, or a heathen, a hobo. And you could still be those things, but you don't have to be looked at like that. Stereotypes and such.
It is what it is. Do you. If you want it short, we have it short. If you want it long, have it long. Who cares? It's not anyone else's place to judge or tell you how to wear it.
Exactly right. So this is what I'm doing for right now. Shaved it on the side, shaved it on the back. Usually you should do something like this in the summer. I like to be different. So
2 years in a row you've shaved your head in the winter.
I didn't shave my head last winter.
Oh, that's right.
Scum Ricky Cruz cheated me out of my title and shaved my head all in the same night.
It's heartbreaking. Absolutely
ridiculous. That Puerto Rican is going to get his one day, and he just better know that I'm always looking out for my SICW title, and whoever's got it is only one match away from Curtis Wylde taking it from him.
Always.
So, we're going to get into some fun stuff. We've got a top 10 list over here.
Let's talk about tomorrow. Let's talk about Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I may not look like it. People tell me all the time, oh, you don't look like you eat very much.
She out-eats me.
Don't let looks deceive you. I love to eat. I love food. And I love this time of year. This year I gotta hope that I don't love it too much.
Well, you still got 6 months until your competition.
So let's, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
It can be a main, it can be a side, it can be a dessert. What's your favorite?
Favorite? I would have to say deviled eggs. Because you don't get deviled eggs most of the time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get deviled eggs for many other holidays, but for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, that seems to be a thing that might pop up. So I dig deviled eggs, dig some turkey. I like the dark meat a little bit more because it's got more juice on it, but...
So you don't really have a favorite?
I don't really have a favorite food in any regard. I've got foods that I don't like.
Yeah.
And that list is way bigger than the foods that I do.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'm a creature of habit. I'll go to one place and that's what I find something I like. And that's what I eat. I shun all the rest of the foods. And
yeah, that is true. I've been ordering the same damn sandwich from Subway for the last 15 years.
No, probably more like 30, 35.
I don't really think I have a favorite either, to be honest with you. I love it all. I do.
Well, how are you going to put me on the spot asking my favorite when you ain't got one?
All right. So...
throw it out there. Throw it out there. What's
See, but I
at least
can't
a couple
choose
of your
between
maybe
sweet
favorites?
potatoes and mashed potatoes, right?
Well, why should you have to choose between sweet potatoes and mashed potatoes?
Right,
You could just say you're a potato lady.
Oh, well, you know that.
You like
Irish to
potatoes.
the core, babe. Green bean casserole.
Green bean casserole's good. I dig some green bean casserole.
Big fan of cranberries, though, because I like it with all of it. All the rest of it.
Yeah. I agree. I just like Thanksgiving dinner.
You know what America's most popular Thanksgiving side dish is?
I don't know, but I don't want to get into the side dishes yet. I want to do a top 10 list, because that's what we got pulled up,
That's
right?
what it is, mostly. So you have
It's
turkey.
mostly side dishes.
And this is one thing that surprised me. Like, our family traditionally has also had ham for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
For a long, long time.
Yeah.
That's not on the list.
Ham is not on the list?
Ham is not on the list for Thanksgiving. It's on the list for Christmas.
Wow.
I know.
I don't know if we should trust the credibility of this website. But
I'm
before
saying.
we move on, let's give them a little credit since we're using the list that they compiled. This is For the Win.
USA Today.
USA Today.
Mm-hmm.
ftw.usatoday.com. So you can check out this list too. But number one on the list, should we go backwards or...
No, I don't know that it's in any particular order, but I do know that this one happens to be the most popular.
Okay, so you guys can rank it at home.
Mashed potatoes. I put that up there.
It's a necessity.
Stuffing. See, that's one I'm not a super huge fan of.
I dig some stuffing. Not
I like
all
a
the
little
time.
bit.
Thanksgiving, I can do some stuffing.
Gravy I can do without.
I know you can. I like some gravy with my mashed potatoes. Just saying.
Sweet
Not all
potatoes.
the time, but
Sweet potatoes are a must.
sweet potatoes are a must.
Rolls.
You know, sweet potatoes are really healthy, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people out there realize that. They think that sweet potatoes are maybe fattening or...
They're full of healthy fats and things like that.
Yeah, and I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, they're really good for you. So this is another one that kind of surprised me. Ham is not on the list, but mac and cheese is. And I don't know about you, but all my years growing up, my family at home, and then our years together, I don't think we've ever had mac and cheese for Thanksgiving.
Well, I think that's because it's so prevalent every other day of the year. Ooh, pick at me. You know, you have mac and cheese once or twice a week. You're not going to have it for your big Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Unless it's really,
Although
really
I
awesome.
think the picture they used was au gratin potatoes.
No, those are the shell noodles.
I don't know if that's real mac and cheese.
Those shells and cheese.
Just saying.
Pumpkin pie.
That's definite. Pumpkin pie is a staple of Thanksgiving.
That's
always
right.
has been. Probably always will be.
Right.
Although I will say, I dug pumpkin pie a whole lot more when I was younger. As I got older, I don't know if what I came to remember of pumpkin pie was something higher than pumpkin pie was actually able to hold up to, or if pumpkin pies just got worse over the years. It's very possible that the quality of pumpkin pies has just declined over the years.
Right.
So I'm not as much of a pumpkin pie guy. Love me some pecan pie, a little bit of apple pie from time to time, but I'm not even much of a pie guy. I'm not really a sweets guy. So
Not a pie guy.
I know where you're going with that. Settle down. That's for an after the episode.
Cranberries.
Cranberries.
See, for me, that's a must.
For you, that's a must.
Gotta have it.
For me, I never really had the cranberries made how your family makes the cranberries. I had the cranberries out the can. I had the cranberries with the rings so you could see where to cut it. And I didn't have cranberries until we got together. And
You know, that wasn't really cranberries, right? It's like cranberry gel.
Are you trying to say that tuna isn't tuna?
It is. It's meat.
Oh, sure. It's tuna.
Anyway. Green bean casserole. Like we said, totally must.
And that picture is not at all like the green bean casserole that I eat.
Right? Turkey, everyone makes it differently. But that is the other number one staple of Thanksgiving.
How different can you make turkey, really?
Well,
I
you
mean, you
can
gotta
wrap it
clean
in a
it out.
paper bag. You can stuff a beer can up its ass. You can, I don't know, you can smoke it. You can deep
stuff a
fry
beer
it.
can up its ass and then smoke it.
See? There's
That
lots of variations.
sounds like a whole different kind of party.
Not one we're having tomorrow.
That's right. We got to confess, we did not get a turkey. We got turkey breast.
No full turkey this year.
8 pounds of it, but we don't have to carve anything. We don't have any bones to deal with.
That's right.
And there's not nearly as much cleanup. So we pulled an audible. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Let's get into some news. Let's pull up some news, chit-chat about that a little bit.
Have you heard anything from today?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I've been dealing with a lot of the behind-the-scenes, back-end stuff for everything we got going on with the Patreon and the YouTube channel and the Team Wylde and that whole journey.
Well, here's a fun one. Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Still boxing at 54 years old.
Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson.
Roy Jones Jr., that's right.
Pull that up. I want to make sure I get all the facts right about this one. So this one, Mike Tyson's 54 years old. Roy Jones Jr. is not too far behind him. If it tells his age on there, go ahead and cut me off and tell me how old he is. But they're about to do an exhibition. And it seems that this exhibition has different rules than I have ever heard of. 2-minute rounds, no scores, no judges, no knockouts are supposed to be allowed. Apparently the California Athletic Commission does not want knockouts. So apparently the California Athletic Commission has never seen a Mike Tyson fight. Because I don't know that Mike Tyson can keep himself from trying to knock out Roy Jones Jr.
Does he have that much control?
I don't know. 54-year-old Mike Tyson. He owns a cannabis ranch.
He's never had to hold back before. But, you know, in this article, he does say that during his last fight, when he quit right before the start of the 7th round, that he said his head wasn't in it and that he wasn't about that anymore. He had wanted nothing to do with it. He was only fighting to pay his bills. I couldn't imagine being in the position where the thing that you loved that made you famous, when, you know, for someone in that spot, could be something that you totally hate and want nothing to do with anymore.
Well, it got to the point where he lost his fire. He lost his fight. And when you don't have that fire inside anymore, it's really hard to be able to force yourself to go to that field of battle. Because that's exactly what it is. It's like, you know, gladiators stepping out on the field, and if you just don't have the drive to succeed, then it's really difficult to even accidentally succeed.
Yeah.
So I think that Tyson got to a point where he didn't enjoy it anymore. He didn't love what he was doing. He didn't have the desire to rip people apart with his fists, because he was getting older, and he just didn't have that killer instinct. And you've got to keep that edge. You got to keep that killer instinct, or especially in any combat sport, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to be able to outlast those young lions coming up that are hungry and they want it bad. They want what you have.
That's right.
Bad.
And they'll do anything they can to take it.
They're not going to lay down.
Nope.
They're not going to lay down. They'll do anything they can to take it. And that's just that. Let's talk about the stock market. The stock market just the other day broke 30,000. I don't know exactly what that means, but from what they tell me, it's record-breaking. It's a big deal. It was a big deal when apparently Trump hit 25,000. And I know that I've seen a lot of Trump supporters want to give him credit for the 30,000 new record that came out. Especially, I mean, considering that Trump hasn't wanted to be president since he lost. It's interesting to see them try to give him credit for a booming stock market. when, I don't know if many people really realize this, but when the day before the stock market hit those new highs, not only did Joe Biden pick all kinds of corporate-friendly Wall Street people for certain really important appointments, but that the day before that was when the Trump team, the Trump administration, finally said that they would transition into a Biden presidency. Mm-hmm. So the day after they said, all right, we're going to transition, we're going to start handing things over to Joe Biden's team, and Joe Biden announced that he's got a whole lot of Wall Street people coming in to do his dirty work, the stock market went through the roof. So it didn't matter who won or lost the election. Wall Street won, and America lost. But the people who have 401ks, the small 8% or whatever, they'll be just fine. But there's not going to be too much relief for regular people who have rent to pay and who have mortgages and who are barely making ends meet, barely keeping their head above water. I know that most of the people that are listening to this most likely don't own stock because, I mean, we own very little through the Cash App. We get a little bit here and there. It's not anything that's going to
make us rich anytime soon.
It's just to dip our toe and to play a little bit. Kind of like a slots machine on our phone,
right.
Except it's real world money and you get to watch the thing go up and down. But it's always nicer when it goes up. It's always, a bummer when it goes down, but it's not anything that's making or breaking. And it's interesting to see how fake it is, how much of an illusion it really is, because you could be up, on a Tuesday by twice as much as you had, and then on Wednesday,
losing your ass on Friday,
or Friday, you're down underneath what you started with. So all that stuff is due to speculation, and it's due to people betting on those stocks and betting on the winners and the losers. And some people don't bet on the winners and leave the losers alone. Some people bet on the winners and the losers. And see where the cards fall. They're not losing either way. They bet on both sides of the fence, and they make sure that they keep it going.
Oh, they're going to make their money regardless.
They're going to keep that gravy train rolling. Mm-hmm. And so I guess if you're deep into the stock market, if you're one of the 1%, then you're going to do really well. And I will say that so far, I think that a lot of Americans are going to do all right, given the fact that Biden has said he's not going to raise taxes on anyone making $400,000 or less.
See, and that's what I don't understand. People are
jumping
up and down and screaming and hollering that, before the election, that, if Biden got in, everyone's taxes were going to go up and milk was going to cost $6 a gallon and all kinds of crazy shit. They clearly don't pay attention, they don't read, they don't listen to anything except the echo chambers surrounding them. And it's the unfortunate way that we got where we are, was their blatant and absolute refusal to use common sense or to educate themselves, because it's just so easy to say, well, the media lies, or so-and-so lies, and how can you trust them? They don't know what they're talking about. And
it's easy to say that now.
Right.
Now that we've had a sitting president screaming that the media was the enemy of the people.
Which was his
for
whole
the
point
last
doing
4
that.
years. Yeah, he needed to, and he even said, it's a quote, that he needed to delegitimize the media so people wouldn't believe them and would believe him. Mm-hmm. And then he did it. And that's absolutely insane. He's telling you, I'm doing this to manipulate you. And then there are people still being manipulated by that. Still
Gladly.
Happily. And I think that part of it is just wanting to be disconnected. Another part is wanting to believe something that other people are telling you is incorrect, just out of stubbornness, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that there are a whole lot of things that we could dissect with the Trump presidency, and namely the people who supported him and why. And it could be a book, but we really need to delve into the fact that none of that really matters anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got to move forward. We got to get this train called America back on the right tracks, and we've got to make sure that the people who need to be taken care of have the opportunities to get taken care of. We need to make sure that the people who can take care of the things that are necessary, the experts need to be in charge. We need to make sure that the adults are at the table. And we need to make sure we continue to hold Biden accountable every second of every day of his presidency and push him as hard as we can for the things that a majority of America supports. And those things are Bernie Sanders' platform. Regardless of how the primary went, you look at every poll, you look at every exit poll during the presidential election, and the most popular thing wasn't either candidate. It was Bernie Sanders' platform. There is a reason that $15 an hour won in Florida and Joe Biden didn't.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The Democratic Party needs to examine that.
Because the issues are speaking to the people, but the candidates that they are putting forth as options are not speaking to the people. And that's where you get the massive disparity between those that are being elected and the policies that are being voted on. The policies that, like we saw here in Missouri, 2018, we passed medical cannabis. We passed Clean Missouri, which would restrict campaign donations, things like that. It would make gerrymandering districts, redistricting more fair. And then immediately afterwards, candidates who were completely and openly against all those things were voted into office or voted to keep their seats. What do they think would happen?
While telling people that they were going to overturn the very thing that people just overwhelmingly voted on in Missouri. Voters voted for something. Candidates told people, when I get in, I'm going to overturn the thing that you voted for. And then they voted for those candidates anyway.
Simply because of the R next to the candidate's name.
Because it's a team sport and they just simply don't care enough to educate themselves on what's going on. You're not going to listen to the opposition standing at your doorstep saying, these guys are telling you they're going to overturn the thing that you just voted for. They're not listening to that. They're not hearing. All they think that is an attack. They think it's fake news because we have a president who has been telling them that these are the types of people that you're having to deal with. And people have an innate trust in their president in the United States. And that really came back to bite us all in the ass, didn't it?
In a big, bad way.
Absolutely.
And that's something that we're going to be cleaning up the aftermath of for a very long time. I'm sure there are effects of it that we haven't even seen yet. So what else is going on?
All right, so we're going to get into some news, see what's happening. Before we get into that, I do want to talk about some comic book news, some comic book movie news that I heard earlier. And with the untimely death of Chadwick Boseman, they're having a hard time figuring out how they can fill that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And those are tough shoes to fill, and they're most likely not going to even try to fill them. There was talk of a CGI Black Panther, and I personally don't like the CGI idea. I don't think that they should bring him back the same way that they did Princess Leia when Carrie Fisher passed.
I don't think that would go over too well.
No, and I've heard rumors of Michael B. Jordan possibly coming back, the guy who played Killmonger, coming back and donning the suit. But I like the other option I'm hearing.
Me too.
which is Shuri, the woman who played Shuri, Black Panther's sister, taking the helm, because she did take the helm in the comic books. And I think that it's important for little girls to have a hero like that. I think especially for little black girls to have a hero like a female Black Panther.
And girls have princesses, you know. The boys, they got all the, at least when we were growing up, they got all the adventurous characters and the fun ones, and we got the dainty princesses that always were in danger and needed saving, and
the damsel in distress.
All kinds of silly things.
But I'm glad that it took a turn, and we saw, really strong, powerful characters over the last few years, but specifically a Marvel superhero woman of color is going to be a powerful thing for little black girls coming up, to see someone that looks like them, to see somebody as powerful as the Black Panther character is, equal to a Captain America, equal to any of the enhanced soldiers, Winter Soldier.
Honestly, I'm more I'm happy and impressed to see more cultural inclusion in movies, in children's movies specifically, in the last few years.
Annie was good. Had a black Annie.
Yeah.
Dagger.
That's right.
That was like 5-6 years
well, I mean, there's so many others, and you've got Coco, the movie about Dia de los Muertos and stuff like that.
Taking more chances and stuff like that. I dig it. I absolutely do. And we've got some other things, coming down the chute that are going to be really cool things for little girls to see. Captain Marvel 2. You already got Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel. And the new Avengers video game, which I'm past due to check out. And when I do, I will be bringing that thing to Twitch.
That's right.
And I'm going to be playing that thing through. We're going to take it to the intro webs and have some fun with that on my Twitch channel. But I see that coming down the chute. I hear that Rambo is going to be playing a bigger part, which is Captain Marvel's best friend in the Captain Marvel.
Oh, yes.
She actually had a pretty big role in the Marvel universe, pre-cinematic universe. So we're going to see that. Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out. We talked a little bit about that on the last episode. So we're going to be seeing some empowered females coming down the chute. We got the Black Widow movie.
It's about damn time.
Oh, I am digging that. The Black Widow movie. Even though she died in Avengers Endgame, this movie apparently takes place just before Avengers Infinity War.
Oh, so it can make sense in the timeline.
Yeah. Well, you got to make sense of the timeline.
That's right. Got to have it in order.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there is a really cute Christmas series, or movie, rather, that came out a few years ago that is now being talked about all over again. Had Kurt Russell in it, called Christmas Chronicles.
We've seen it.
And I guess they're making another one, but they're saying that might be his last iconic film role.
Well, he did die as Ego the Planet in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so he can't be Peter Quill's dad anymore unless they bring him back as a Celestial in the Eternals movie.
No, see, those are universes that don't cross.
Oh, they can cross? You don't think Santa Claus exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
You're right, I'm sure.
Somebody talk to this girl.
I'm sure he brought them the Infinity Gauntlet.
He sure did. He sure did. Santa, I mean, if you made the nice list, but he can't bring it to Thanos because Thanos obviously was on the naughty list. Makes sense. He's not worthy. He's not worthy. I'm positive. You ain't gonna see him wielding Thor's hammer or, the next ruler of Asgard or any of that stuff. But what do we got in the news? Let's talk about some things.
You can now order the macaroons that you see in The Mandalorian. You can order them for Christmas.
That's awesome, but I would prefer a Baby Yoda.
Me too. Have you seen those things?
Name me a baby Yoda.
Oh, they're so cute. You pet their head and they roll their eyes and coo at you and move their little ears and yeah. I've always wanted a stuffed Ewok.
Have you?
I've always wanted an Ewok.
See,
Yes.
I've always wanted a real life Ewok.
Well,
it's true. I would definitely take an Ewok. If anybody's out there got an Ewok, hook me up. What?
Hate to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. Tiger King, Carol Baskins.
No.
You guys find me an Ewok. We'll talk. I'll work on your ranch.
No Ewok for you. You will not.
I will too. You know what I've always wanted though? I definitely have always wanted an Ewok. I now want a baby Yoda. That's a necessity in my life. But a Gizmo. I've always wanted a Mogwai.
Yeah.
And Christmas is right around the corner.
True.
No bright light. Mogwai. I won't feed him after midnight. I won't get him wet.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if you're on Santa's nice list this year.
By the way, just so we're clear, on the Wylde Syde podcast, we believe that Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Gremlins is so a Christmas movie.
Absolutely.
Who would say otherwise?
It's in the same vein as Die Hard. Who would say otherwise? If you don't believe that Gremlins and Die Hard are Christmas movies, then you probably shouldn't watch our show, because we're just going to keep saying that they are. We're just going to keep telling you over and over again that Gremlins and Die Hard
they are
Christmas
totally
movies.
Christmas movies.
Totally.
Absolutely.
What else is happening on the news over here?
Whole lot of nothing exciting.
There's a whole lot exciting going on. It's just Thanksgiving. Everybody's slow. Everybody's chilling. Hanging out with family. All that good stuff.
That's the thing. You can't find much news because it's all COVID. It's all politics. It's all Donald Trump refusing to leave the White House and them having to talk him into conceding without actually conceding. And I can't wait till it's all over.
I think that our hopes are a little high that it's going to be over, because
you might be right.
Trumpism is strong in this country, stronger than I ever imagined it could be. And even if he is too old and unable to run in 2024, a cheap Trump facsimile, which is saying something, is going to run. There is going to be either a Trump or a Trump knockoff that is going to run for office. So, if you want to battle
within the
this,
next 2 to 3 election cycles.
No, the next one.
You think?
They're going to run against Biden. They're going to try to get those 70 million plus right back to the ballot box. Promise. I promise. It's either going to be Trump, Trump Jr., Kushner, or Ivanka. It's going to be one of them. Unless Trump goes to jail for tax evasion. And then the name may sufficiently be tarnished enough to keep them away from the presidency and damaging this country any further. So let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed that stuff doesn't happen. But shout out to the Democratic Party. You've got 4 years. You've got 4 years to prove to the American people that you are willing to do things that will change their lives on a fundamental level, that will change their everyday existence. You've got 4 years. Prove to us that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You've got it. You've got the White House. You've got the House of Representatives, the U.S. House. You might take the Senate. Anybody who wants some good things passed, start making some calls in Georgia. Start making some phone banking and digital.
Do all the things.
Do all the things. Do all the things. Progressives, namely, I would like to say for you to do all the things that you know how to do better than a lot of the establishment bunch. But they've got the media in their back pocket, so work alongside them and don't be a lapdog. Don't be a lapdog. If the Democratic representatives are not representing you, hold them to the fire and hold them responsible for everything that is necessary in this country to happen.
That's right.
Do not just give them all your blood, sweat, tears, and elbow grease without getting something in return.
Absolutely.
Without getting some policy concessions in return.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Bernie didn't do that enough, and I think that that's going to allow Biden to push further right, and he's already as far right as he needs to go. He's a Ronald Reagan Republican in Democratic clothes, and we need to turn him into at least what a Democrat should look like. Let's at least try to get him where Obama was. And I know that a lot of progressives, myself included, are not as happy as some of the establishment Democrats with Obama's administration and his presidency in general. We bought into hope, we bought into change, and we didn't get either of those in any fundamental real way. And to say bring Biden to where Obama was is about the best I think we can do at this moment. I think that it's going to take maybe 2024, 2028, a true progressive to step up and take this thing back. But between now and then, we can start on the lower levels. This is what I did. And I was alone in many respects, especially in the circles in Missouri. But you start on the lower levels. You integrate into, what's his name? Lee Camp. Lee Camp has a great thing about about entering into the Democratic Party. Show up to county councils, Democratic Central Committees, with enough people, enough votes, and at the right time, and you can take over an entire Central Committee. And then you do that with the state, and you go up to the National Committee. It can be done. There are victories happening. So get involved, do the work, but do the work towards progressive policies. Don't do the work to line the pockets for corporate donors. Don't do the work to help other people's careers succeed when that's not what this thing should be about. This thing should be about helping America be a better America, helping to represent people who can't represent themselves in the best way possible, and the best way that will give them the best opportunities to succeed. Let's talk about some more news. What do we got? We got Ted Cruz going at it with AOC. We got a New Jersey man charged with $1.7 million theft and an armored car outside of a casino. Bally's? He really stole 1.7 from Bally's?
In Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Atlantic City, New Jersey. It wasn't in Vegas.
A former guard and two others stole more than $1.7 million in an armored car parked outside an Atlantic City casino earlier this month. Atlantic County prosecutors said that he was charged with burglary, theft, and conspiracy in connection with the November 5th theft from an armored car parked outside of Bally's.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a movie waiting to happen. I'm seeing Mark Wahlberg. I'm seeing, who's the other guy? Hawkeye. What's his name? Jeremy Renner. Seeing maybe a Matt Damon.
It's like they tried to redo the Lufthansa heist from, the late 90s?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you
keep chipping away at something, and eventually it might happen.
So many people have tried. They've never been truly successful.
Oh, what is this saying? CEOs at chains like McDonald's and Waffle House stop fighting a $15 minimum wage.
They're starting to realize that people aren't going to want to work for them if they're not paying them well enough. And they're realizing that the people that will work for them aren't going to care about their job. They're going to say, oh, sorry, the shake machine is broken at 7 o'clock at night because they don't feel like making a shake. They're going to close the restaurant down at 8:30 as opposed to 10 o'clock just because they feel like it.
Or they could be, telling you that there's not a shake to be had because they already broke down the shake machine, so they didn't have that to do later.
Or they just don't have enough people to handle it.
That's besides the point.
Yeah.
$15 minimum wage, that is the very least that we should be paying anyone. Given the fact that had inflation gone up with productivity, we should be making about $21.70 an hour right
Closer to 23 by now.
Closer to 23. She's more up on it apparently. But I know that when I was running for office, it was $21.74 an hour. Had minimum wage kept up with productivity and inflation. And $15 an hour isn't even asking that much when it's asking for less than people actually deserve.
Absolutely.
Less than people actually are worth. And
nobody should ever have to work 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet and survive.
And that's what was different about the 50s and all these other times where only one parent had to go out and work a job 40 hours a week, and then they got vacation time, and they got insurance, and they got all these things. Now, both parents are having to go out, work 2-3 jobs, and nobody sees a problem with this. Everybody just says, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, when our country is struggling because so many people at the top, and I should say so few, but there are many people at the top that are profiting in a way that is creating a debt slavery society. Creating a society where people are having to work just to exist, just to be able to feed their families and do the things that they need to do every day to get by. They're having to work 2 or 3 jobs. They don't get to see each other. They don't get to be with their families. They don't get to be together. And on Thanksgiving, we really need to consider what it means. During a pandemic, we really need to consider what it means to be family, to be together, to be congruent in our purpose in life. And our purpose in life should not be wake up every day, go to work until we're able to come home, take a shower, and go to sleep. That is not the purpose of human beings in this world.
That's right.
And we should re-examine our purpose. We should re-examine the reasons that we're here and the things that
matter the most. And, they've really had a chance to see how this could work in the states that have raised the minimum wage, or in states that have individual counties that have raised the minimum wage. The CEO of Waffle House says that it won't necessarily affect them negatively because they have been able to deal with it in certain places so far and are able to spread those policies and what they've learned from that if it were to move to a federal $15 minimum wage.
Yeah. Unfortunately...
Even the UK is increasing their minimum wage.
Oh, great. I'm pretty sure that people who work at McDonald's in Scandinavian countries, I don't remember exactly which ones particularly, but they're already making $18, $25 an hour. It's ridiculous, the disparity of how much people make in other countries, how much people make in places that have better social services than we have here. And we're somehow unable to do it. So many people have said, well, we're such a big country. We're 3 times bigger than some of those Scandinavian countries. Shouldn't we be able to do 3 times better? We have 3 times the resources, right? We have 3 times the people. We should be able to do significantly better than these other countries in every respect, in every way possible, including education, healthcare, you name it, wages. Go down the line. We should be able to do better than all those countries, and we say that America is the greatest nation on the planet.
It's about time we start proving it.
You stole the words out of my mouth, but that's okay because we're married. So my words are her words, and her words
are
also
words.
her words. And that's how it goes as a happily married husband. Well, look, I think that we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to call this thing a night. And we want you guys to all say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner. Enjoy your time with family. As always, you can check us out all over the social medias. The Wylde Syde is the podcast. So you can add the Wylde Syde on Facebook. You can add the Wylde Syde on the Instagram. I think that's even on the Twitter. We haven't really cultivated that. We don't like Twitter much.
Nah.
We're not 140 character people or 280 character people. That's not us. We're more long form type of people. And we like videos and we like to share things like that. So check us out on all those social medias. Check out Team Wylde on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please subscribe. You might be watching that here. And our Patreon, patreon.com/teamwylde, WYLDE. And you can check out some cool, fun things that we're going to be doing. This haircut I got, I put some pictures on the Facebook, but I am going to put the full video on the $1 tier on Patreon. And if people would like to see it, go check it out. If nobody bites, it's there. It's there. That's the whole reason that we're doing the Patreon thing, is if it's not there, people can't check that out. They don't have that option. But if you build it, they will come. That's what Kevin Costner said in a movie once with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
James Earl Jones.
And I'll be starting a new art project soon. We might be capturing some of that on video, doing some behind-the-scenes look on how I create some of my art. Sometimes it's a little conventional, other times not so much. Not quite sure what we're doing yet, but we'll see. And
we're definitely going to be doing a whole lot more content on the Patreon. There's going to be extra, options, extra access to the things that we do, how we do it. We're going to be taking you guys on road trips from time to time, and all that's going to be available on patreon.com/Team Wylde. So check that out. For myself, Curtis Wylde, this is
Chrissy Wylde. Until next time, happy Thanksgiving. Stay wild.